What is the fastest way a room of happy people turns sour you've witnessed? Back when I waited tables, guy walking to his table had a massive heart attack and hit the floor. EMTs said he was dead before he hit the floor. I've never seen a restaurant go so silent so quickly. Not my story, but a friend of mine was attending a Christian Pentecostal summer camp a few years ago with some high school students and other adult leaders. For anyone who is unfamiliar with Pentecostal youth camps, the evening church services can get pretty lively and charged with emotion. People being slain in the spirit, speaking in tongues, lots of worship and confessing sins, that sort of thing. There were probably a couple hundred students, so things may have gotten chaotic. Anyway, my friend and one of the other adult leaders get pulled on stage to confess sins to the audience. Not sure who thought this was a good idea, but maybe it wasn't planned, and the other adult leader, a nice guy in his 20s, newly married, confesses to the packed auditorium of high schoolers hyped up on Jesus that he used to make love to his dog. The evening service pretty much ended after that. When I was a kid, there were about 6-8 families in our area who were a good group of friends. Regular holidays together, kids all close friends too and in the same classes at school etc. The backstory was that one of the families kept noticing money going missing from a drawer in the master bedroom. They had an older son who was getting the blame but was denying it. Fast forward a few weeks and it's their younger kid's birthday, and everyone is at their house. Usual script was the kids' party would be late afternoon, then in the evening the kids would end up playing games in some bedroom as the adults had a few drinks. Kids were happy because we got to stay up late with all our friends. Parents got to have a few guilt-free drinks. This night was going as normal until we're all shuffled out and home earlier than usual. We got the full story the next day. Once the kids were out of the way, the owners of the house had turned on their TV and pressed play on a video. On screen there was CCTV of the bedroom where the money had been going missing. Clearly in the video you could see the wife of one of the other couples, sitting in that very room, going into the drawer and taking money. Apparently they switched off the video, said what you saw is exactly what it looked like and asked that couple to leave. Everyone else left shortly after. My company had a pizza party meeting for a particular department. The scuttlebutt was it was a thank you for a third quarter project completion. The department of 35 people were excited for the attaboys and the pizza. After the lunch the shoe dropped. They were all being laid off because even though they finished the project on time, for this long-time customer, the customer had signed a contract with another company and were leaving. Unbelievable crap move by management. Reading these other comments, pizza seems to be the common way to give bad news to employees. My friend used to work for a company that has always promised out IT department a trip to Hawaii for working through a couple of rough years without pay raise, and on the flip side we won't get any personnel cut. It was a verbal promise that once we are back to profitable, the IT department would get all expense paid trip. Back around October of 2015, they were gathered in the largest meeting room for a meeting with the president. There were snacks, drinks, pizza, etc. It was assumed that it was a celebration for a good year and they'd get the promised trip. It was a mass layoff since IT has been outsourced. All credentials were locked during the meeting and everyone was asked to leave the premise right after the meeting. Had a friend that was in IT have something similar happen, but the department caught wind of it early, so they put a password on the servers and never told the employer. They got fired and escorted and then called the next day. They all denied knowing. Lol. Sweet revenge when the servers got wiped. Sadly it didn't cripple the company or anything, but it definitely fricked their month up. 800 guys in a grocery warehouse being told it was going to be automated in 5 years. One fellow yelled out asking if we fought the robots and one could we keep our jobs. Lol. Probably not since his job has been terminated. I was on a Chicago to NY flight. We all get on the plane, but were delayed taking off due to a heavy storm going on. About 20 minutes in, everybody was still pretty calm until the pilot announces they're working on getting our baggage loaded, because it's been sitting on the tarmac this entire time. The entire plane looks out and sees all our luggage just sitting there in the pouring rain uncovered and starts freaking out. I am calling it someone's computer got ruined. The president of our company got completely plastered at our Christmas party. His speech started off funny because he was slurring hard and he was playing on it. Then he started talking about how he came from nothing and became something. Then he proceeded to tell us how if it wasn't for us working so hard and keeping our clients happy, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish building his mega mansion for him and his family, nor would he have been able to afford his new Benz. Awkward muttering, followed by him directing us to drink up and enjoy, because due to budget cuts, the future Christmas party bonus budget is cancelled from here on out. Many of my co-workers relied on that bonus. No one was impressed, except for one person. The rest of us quit within the first few months into the new year. I made the mistake of playing Scattergories with my mother. She said no foreign words. You have to use English words. Fine. Fair enough. She then called out someone for using a foreign word. I can't remember. It's been 10 years. He took off the points. The next freaking round she used 3 foreign words. I called her out on it and she said it was no big deal. It was just a game. I argued that not only had she set the rule, but that she already called someone out for doing it. She called me a freaking butthole and left the room. The Thanksgiving family time was over as pretty much everyone decided that was the time to leave. Total time from game start to end of the family time 6 minutes. Scattergories is not just a game, it's a way of life. Many of heated debates started over that game throughout my entire childhood. Weak crap though. She established the rule before playing and then broke the rule. Super not cool. I used to work for this new performance hall in Nick, and one morning during our morning meetings, one of our managers thought she was being unique and uplifting by ending our meeting with forcing us to say one thing I'm grateful to, company name here, for is. All 30 of us were pretty happy to just start the day since it was a beautiful day out, but that soured our mood really quick. A bunch of people got hostile with answers like the wonderful healthcare we are given, we have none, and the magnificent ours are crap and inconsiderate. Yep, you can't really indoctrinate a group of people by yourself with a charisma score that low. Whole company, 60 plus people, gathered at a product unveiling cheerleading event where we were expecting surprising news, bonuses. Instead we were informed that the least senior and biggest donghead was promoted to partner. All downhill from there. At a small gathering, as the lid was lifted on an extra large pizza, a guy with a miserable cold sneezed directly onto it. Please tell me he offered to buy a new pizza. Party at a woman's house. Everyone talking and happy. They mention a local business burned down. Drunk guy yells must have been Jewish lightning. The entire party goes silent, awkwardly glancing between him and the hostess, who just so happens to be Jewish. The man looks around, thinks for a moment, and realizes his mistake. They didn't hear him, so he yells louder, must have been Jewish lightning. I was watching Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon in a movie theater when it came out in the early 1970s. The projector died during a fight scene. Was on a team, about 15 people, for a special project for a regional internet service provider. During the bi-weekly team meeting, the manager was super pumped about how far ahead of schedule we were due to some new processes we came up with. After about 20 minutes of attaboys, the manager concluded with telling us all we were being laid off in the same tone of voice she used for the whole meeting, issuing a bunch of praise. Most of us awkwardly laughed for a couple seconds thinking she was joking. She was not. Drinking with colleagues from work. A guy was needling me and a friend about how out of shape we are. It was fair and lighthearted. Suddenly my friend blurts out, "Yeah, at least we have attractive wives." Needling guy's wife was standing right there. This made my butthole clench. Bride throwing up on herself on the dance floor during the first dance. She tried to hold it back, but the groom just pointed her towards the dance floor and she let her rip. It was impressive. Bad snowstorm started about 4 AM a few years ago. My coworkers and I were texting each other thinking no way would they make us come into our job today. We are non-essential workers. We're all home waiting for the email to go out regarding whether or not our boss would give us the day off. Email finally goes out around 7:30 AM saying that we would have a shorter day but everyone must show up for work by 9. So I layered up, cleaned off my car, Shoveled out of my parking spot and headed to work on very precarious roads. I got to work on time and was greeted by my co-workers who were all pretty happy just to not have gotten into an accident on the way over. All of the clients and meetings had been cancelled, so there was a party-like atmosphere. Just as we were talking about playing charades, we get another email from the boss saying because road conditions were so bad they were closing the agency after all and everyone had to go home. This was 20 minutes after we had all gotten there. I have never seen 20 plus people all scream "Are you freaking kidding me?" at the same time before. It was absurd and everyone was peed. In Portugal during the World Cup, get there early to find a street bar in the center with a big screen. Place is soon packed. England start really well and everyone is singing and laughing. All of a sudden the bar up the road erupts into massive cheers. Lots of people go out into the road to see. Apparently someone just dropped an entire tray of drinks. We all laugh and go back to watching the game. 10 seconds later England score. Our bar erupts and we spill into the street. The bar up the road is deadly silent now. Weird. The game starts again and the bar up the road starts shouting again. Nothing in the game. What's going on? People look up the road again. Can't quite work it out. Then a really bad tackle goes in and the penny finally drops. Our bar's TV is the only one using satellite and all the other bars have cable. Our feed is about 20 seconds behind everywhere else. Every exciting moment is audible about 20 seconds before we get to see it. Have never seen a bar empty so fast in all my life. Had a similar experience working in a pub once during the South Africa World Cup. The radio in the kitchen was a few seconds ahead of the TV, so we would all hear something exciting happen and rush out of the kitchen into the bar area to watch it on TV. I worked at a casino for a couple of years and the joke is totally true. How do you pee off 500 old people? Yell bingo. I had just turned 18 and went to a sports betting bingo place in another country. I wasn't very experienced, so I thought I had got a bingo and yelled it out. The workers came to check and saw that it wasn't. They were used to it and just started over again. But the other, much older, customers were peed. Was bartending on one of our restaurant's busiest days. Place was packed and man and a boy of about 9 couldn't stop wrestling and giggling. The man about 30 years old started repeatedly yelling, "I'm gonna grab your dong." Yeah, the whole place dropped dead silent. Mother grabs the kid and says they need to chill out. That sounds like a what would you do show moment. Every family reunion when my one aunt gets drunk and brings up my other aunt that died. Happens every time. My grandma keeps comparing me to the aunt who died before I was born. It's awkward. Not exactly a room, but our plane landed home after my company spent a year in Iraq. Our company commander previously told us to tell our families that they shouldn't come out to the tarmac to welcome us back because it would be a freaking circus and you'll just see them later anyway. Stepping off the plane, who are the first and only people we see? Our freaking commander's wife, 3 kids, parents, grandparents, brothers, and numerous cousins' friends. What a butt. Family gathering was going great until the host realized she was missing thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. She started accusing everyone of being thieves until her husband said he put it away without telling her. In grad school we were gathered in a room to hear about how the last term of classes in the program was going to be cut due to a new law regarding educator requirements for the state. Everyone was stoked because it was gonna save us like $5,000-8,000. Then they told us that due to state budget cuts, our total tuition was going to double. Sounds about right. So sad. Dude decided to pop the question to his girlfriend at a work holiday party. She said no. Both parties began to cry inconsolably. All the guys in the room tried to cheer up the guy with their tales of woe. All the women in the room took the woman aside and did whatever the female version of the above was. Went from a fairly happy event to a complete disaster within minutes. Plus side, while all of this crap was going down no one was hitting the buffet, so I cleaned the frick up. When the boss got drunk at the Christmas party and let slip that there was going to be layoffs coming in the new year. That's just terrible. Last year at our Christmas party they let it slip that they would be shuffling all the crews around, so the people we've been working with for the last 10 plus years would all be on different shifts. Telling them they're all going to be let go just before Christmas. Walmart is really bad about letting their seasonal people go the same week as Christmas after spending 90 days building them up as having a chance of being more than a temp. We had to work on a holiday but management didn't, so there was nobody to unlock the building. We waited outside from 7 AM until 7:45 and were told that if we didn't get in by 8 we could go home. 7:55 the manager shows up and lets us in. Someone admitted that they took advantage of a very drunk woman in a game of Never Have I Ever. For us it was, never have I ever been violated. I don't remember if anyone drank, but the question in itself was awkward enough. Camp. 150 kids headed to an ice skating rink. Everyone laughing, cheering, having fun, sitting on school buses for 2 hours. The place is closed. Instant chaos, screaming, general unhappiness. Took us back the next day, but still the angriest I've ever seen. 150 kids. How did nobody check before arranging transport for 150 kids? This is more of a mild story but still very uncomfortable. It was at work during break. A whole bunch of us were outside smoking. One guy asks my co-worker if he has any kids, says that he likes to dress up as Santa for the young ones. So my co-worker tells him I have a daughter that just turned 20, and he replied with, well, she can definitely come sit on my lap. The silence after that sentence was so painful. Everyone ended up going back inside after that. It was super awkward. Thanks Redding, this gave me second-hand embarrassment. In 2007 Mars Volta played at White River Amphitheater. They got through about 4 songs and then quit in a rage on stage. Turns out the guitarist was having speaker issues and someone threw a bottle of pee on him. He smashes his guitar on the speakers and walks off mid-song. The lead singer says, this is what you get when you build an amphitheater on Indian burial ground. I'll give $10,000 to anyone who brings me the head of the motherfucker that threw pee on us. Security ran out to escort them off and we had a full hour and a half wait till our HCP came out. That crap was sour. Also, this is all available to watch on YouTube. Pretty good reason to rage quit and storm off stage though. Didn't witness it personally but heard about it and the aftermath. Back in 2006 an army unit was being extended beyond its original 12-month deployment to Iraq. This was the first extension for the surge and before it became common. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld traveled to the unit's home base to address the families of the soldiers and let them know why these soldiers weren't coming home and the few that had made it home were having to turn around and go back. It wasn't a horribly happy crowd to start with, but they were willing to hear him out and be respectful. Apparently he came in incredibly conceited about the whole situation and basically made a comment along the lines of, they are soldiers and will do what they are told and like it. He was completely lacking in empathy or understanding and just expected everyone to accept and support the decision. This comment and demeanor immediately turned the crowd hostile and the town hall was quickly cancelled and Rumsfeld had to be escorted out by his security detail. I was helping to run a Christian disco when I was a teenager back in the 80s. Everyone was happy and dancing until I innocently played Tainted Love. The entire dance floor cleared in seconds because apparently, Tainted Love is a gay anthem. I'd like to know what other songs they were okay with if Tainted Love was too gay for them. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.